Talk about fallen giants. GE, once an American industrial giant, has fallen on tough times. Critics say they haven't innovated as fast as they used to, while huge Chinese corporations encircle ASEAN, a 700 million strong region that GE wants a piece of. How will this once proud American icon cope? Alex Dimitrief, President and CEO of GE's Global Growth Organization, explains. Alex, thank you for joining us. Now, it's no secret that GE has been through some pretty tough times in the last few years. What is your mandate in terms of turning the business around from a non-US perspective?
Well, I think that GE has really prided itself on being an international company, and the way that we become an international company is by being local in the 180 plus countries where we do business. So our mandate from an international perspective is to continue building our international footprint and continue to bring our science and technology to every part of the world. It's hard not to be excited about that prospect when I visit ASEAN, when I visit Malaysia, 640 million people. Who need the infrastructure that GE has to offer, both in terms of aviation and healthcare and transportation and power and renewable energy. There's a perfect match, and it's just a great place for GE to be, and it's a real privilege to be able to represent GE around the world like I do.
Some people might say that GE in the last 5 or 10 years has not been able to replicate the industrial innovation that it used to be known for back in the day. Is that necessarily a truism?
You know what, I don't think that's fair at all. Now, I understand that people might look at our stock price right now and think that things aren't going well for GE, but if you step back and you look at what's happening, our aviation business is having record performance and just really doing great all around the world, including here in Malaysia. We've announced a new deal with Lion Air in Indonesia, and so we're very excited about our prospects throughout the world. Our healthcare business is performing very strongly. Our renewables business is performing very strongly. We just installed wind farms in Australia. We have a deal in Vietnam. We have a deal in Laos. We're feeling very excited about that business. Our power business is challenged right now as the energy mix shifts from coal and gas to renewables, but we feel as though we've got a good fix on that, and we're excited about the future there too, and we feel as though that business is going to be an important part of GE's portfolio going forward.
So you mentioned, all kinds of sectors, from healthcare to industrials to automation and mechanical engineering and what have you. Specifically where Malaysia is concerned, what kind of sectoral growth are you seeing from your perspective?
Well, I think that let's take energy, for example, and the demand. We see in Malaysia, we see opportunities for all sorts of developments. So we have a ultra-critical technology in steam with coal-fired plants, where we have 2 plants that have just gone online in Malaysia, which we think have been very successful. We are also looking at gas-fired plants with our new H turbine. We're going to have 2 plants powered by GE heavy-duty gas turbines online in 2020 and 2021. We also believe there is some possibility in renewables. We have to look at wind patterns and see whether that's sustainable or not in terms of a long-term future. Also solar. And so we believe, and then we also think there's opportunities for storage with microgrids.
Yeah, so I understand that seems a bit anomalous with sustainable energy objectives, if you like, because we talk about coal and gas. They're not exactly 21st century clean sources of power. I guess you might be innovating within the technology within those sectors, but not necessarily in the new areas.
Well, I think
from where Malaysia is concerned. Well,
no, I think in terms of, again, when we look at Malaysia, I think that when we look at the H turbine that we have with world record efficiency. It's all about how you burn that gas. When you look at coal and you look at our super ultra critical technology, it's about new records of efficiency with coal. So it's possible to use the resources that are available in Malaysia to provide affordable energy and also improve the environment at the same time. So we're really excited about the progress that we're going to be able to make in partnership with our customers in Malaysia.
Okay, so I understand that back in the day, the rest of the world was something like 30% business, 70% was in the US. Now the tables have turned, and 70% is now outside of the US.
Almost exactly flipped.
Exactly. Well, the thing is, we now find ourselves in a very interesting era with Donald Trump's foreign policy, and of course, this year has been particularly tumultuous for investment markets. How does GE's foreign business policy reconcile with your government's foreign policy?
We believe that when GE wins outside of the United States wins as well.
Do you think Donald Trump would agree with that?
I believe that Donald Trump is an advocate of free and fair trade. GE, as an international company, favors free trade. We favor free movement of people, free movement of goods. And we hope that the United States and China are able to negotiate their differences, and we think that would be good for everybody involved.
Do you think there might be a return of that era where the free trade agreements, the TPP might still be rejuvenated, Alex?
I think at some point there will be a movement back towards more trade agreements between governments, and again, GE supported the TPP, and we actually benefit from the TPP, even though the United States isn't a signatory to that agreement, because if it promotes free trade, that helps an international company like GE. I do believe that you will see the pendulum swing back and forth in terms of free trade agreements, but I think that the beauty of GE's business model is that we're able to go ahead and be international even without free trade agreements to promote trade, because we are building supply chains, we have great teams around the world, and so we're able to be global and local at the same time.
Of course, we sit ourselves in Malaysia, where China and its growing dominance in the region is very much a reality, all the way from high-level infrastructure projects to the lowest common denominator in retail. From where you sit in GE, where America used to be so dominant in the region, how do you counteract and fight the China juggernaut?
I think the best way to do it is just by having the best products, bringing the best science, bringing the best technology, and having the best people. And when I look at the 1,700 employees who work for GE in Malaysia, we've got the best people. And I think in the end, what counts is free and fair competition. And we're in favor of free and fair competition. And as long as the competition is fair, we welcome it from everybody, from anybody and everybody.
Competition is fair.
Yes.
Do you not think it's going to be fair?
I think it's usually fair, and I think in the long run, quality
usually
wins
fair?
out.
What do you mean?
Well, I think every once in a while, I think you can see that governments intervene and that there are protectionist policies that favor domestic industries. And so that's a short-term phenomenon in the most part. And in the end, best quality, the best products, and the best people win.